I'm disturbed that Nadine Dorries has finally been granted, or at least we're told, she's on the list to become a peer in the list put forward by Boris as part of his departure. It's traditional for a departing Prime Minister to nominate people into the peerage, and it was widely assumed that Nadine Dorries would be one of those. John Nicholson, who's an SNP MP, and with whom I've corresponded, sits on the DCMS committee. Now, the DCMS, the Digital Media, Culture and Sport, was the ministry that Nadine Dorries, quote, ran. I use the term very loosely because I can't think of anything that she did during her time in office. I can't think of any single piece of legislation that she saw through to conclusion. What she did was try to destroy the BBC and try to destroy Channel 4. Part of the process was to tell very strange stories. And one of the stories she told, which is denied absolutely by Love Productions, which made the programme, and denied by Channel 4, which screened the programme, was about a person who was in a programme who apparently had lunch with her and her two boys. And this Rena Spain, who is the person who almost certainly is the lady in question, denies absolutely. She said she never had lunch with Nadine Dorries and wouldn't even if she were paid to. She also tells other stories about Nadine Dorries during her time on this reality TV show. Nadine Dorries, of course, like Matt Hancock, is much given to reality TV activity, but was not prepared to answer a number of letters that I wrote to her to urge her to reconvene the DCMS committee, which had only done half its work, and it was investigating the suicides in the Jeremy Kyle show and Love Island. So this led to a half-cock regulation now overseen by Ofcom, which effectively enshrouds in law the practice which was current at the time when I was on a reality TV show called The Circle. Scurrilous practice and manipulation by production and by those people connected to production is, I think, routine. It makes it a misery for anyone who is a participant on one of those shows, but I think it also makes a mockery of the audience, and the audience at its very worst is watching a gladiatorial combat. And many of the participants on these shows have gone on to have serious medical problems, depression, and in some cases, over 50 people have killed themselves. Now, I think this requires a little bit more than a casual nod towards a committee, and I think it requires a little bit more than the testimony of 4 people who have appeared on these programs, 4 people and innumerable members of production. So this really wasn't a very impartial examination. Nadine Dorries inherited this nonsense in this ministry, and I wrote to her a number of times. She ignored me, and I find this quite extraordinary. And not because I think I'm so great, but because I do have experience of being on a reality TV show, having won a reality TV show, and therefore I don't think I can be dismissed as having sour grapes. I witnessed things which I think need investigation, and I don't think it's necessarily about failings or sort of nastiness on the part of production. I think it's about a climate of exploitation which has existed from the very beginning, because reality TV is very much based on 2 infamous experiments which themselves are skewed by very, very strange fact-gathering methodology. One of these, of course, the Milgram experiment. And Nadine Dorries told a most extraordinary story at the end of one of these committee meetings. She wasn't even being asked a question, but she volunteered this story that she had lunch with a person, she didn't say the name, but it almost certainly was Rena Spain, who's extremely upset about this story. And she said that she realised that these people were all actors. Many of the people involved in the production were actors. They were not real people at all. And so it was manufactured. Love Island, the Channel 4 and Love Productions both denied this. And Nadine Dorries was given an opportunity to explain herself, and she never has. The DCMS committee has concluded that it looks like Nadine Dorries has not told the truth, and therefore she has misled Parliament. So John Nicholson has passed this information on to the Privileges Committee, and like Boris Johnson, Nadine Dorries now faces an investigation to see whether or not she is honest. And it's taken its time. It's taken its time because this event was some time ago. This event was in April or May or something. And, we're only now getting to the point where that committee is about to sit, and Nadine Dorries is translated into the House of Lords. I find this shocking. If anything is likely to spell the death knell of the House of Lords, it's something as scurrilous and scandalous as this. It has happened before. Inappropriate people have been put into the House of Lords. We remember nonsense with Lloyd George. We remember nonsense with Harold Wilson. At least she has her place in history.